happened really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
They're
turned
almost 8 months total.
from second to third. It turns on a dime. Like how much that keeps. Like,
It seemed like it changed in the last week.
I believe it, 100%.
I mean, we all saw
But is it
Twilight
better than
and what
their
happened
average
to Bella's
cookie?
baby, so that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Right, but it's not bad.
What?
The Renesmee monstrosity.
I know.
Oh yeah, you
It
guys
grew overnight.
Yeah. Did you? No, you guys weren't at New Year's Eve because I did put a Twilight on TV.
That's the thing, man. Like you mentioned Twilight, I'm there.
Oh man.
Well, what happened?
Yeah.
You didn't mention it.
Oh.
It was
that's true.
afterwards.
I did mention it. He's right. That's fair.
Yeah.
It was spur of the moment thing. Okay, we ready to review this? This
short
movie?
Yeah, this is
Technically a movie.
I don't
A
think
short
it's a
story?
movie.
It's a short film.
It's a documentary.
It's a
Exactly.
mockumentary.
It is a doc. No, it's a documentary.
It's a show.
This really happened.
This really happened.
You know what, Mason? If you're telling me, I believe you.
Yep.
Anyways, we'll wait for Annabeth to skirt on.
Wait for the crinkles to leave.
Yeah, because
The crinkly
the bag.
paper.
Quit shaking the bag, Annabeth. We're doing a show. How else are we gonna pay the rent?
You man hater.
I know.
By the way, we're at 70 subscribers.
I saw that. No.
Yeah.
See ya.
Annabeth, did you sub to our channel? Did you sub to our
You
channel?
If you're subbed, unsub.
Go unsub right now.
We're having to cut ends.
Well,
Don't make her unsubscribe. She may be one of the few people that actually watches.
somebody needs to.
Well, I'll just get rid of one of my bots. It's
There we
That's
go.
good. Yeah.
Nathan paid good money for all
Your
these
bots have been slacking if we're only at 69.
I will stream on my other channels to plug
Look,
our stream
I have
again.
to make them by hand.
He does.
True. And those aren't easy. Anyways, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to a very happy birthday episode of the F Movie Podcast. We're your host, Mason.
Let's sing him happy birthday.
Happy
This
birthday!
will just cripple our channel.
I will not.
Dylan and I
And he
will.
will
We will.
appreciate it.
We'll harmonize.
Happy! No, you're off. You're off.
I can't do it.
Anyways, also on the show, me, Price, and Nathan. And I don't know why I said so sad on that one. Like, it was like, and Nathan's here. I don't know.
'Cause he wouldn't sing with us.
To be fair,
Yeah.
I don't know how happy I am to be here.
That's
Oh,
fair.
no.
Oh, no. On today's episode, we actually have a really interesting spin. How it spun last week, because I'm sure you saw it, but in case you didn't, was that...
I'm sure you watched the whole
Yeah, you
episode.
watched the whole
You watch
episode.
to the end.
You always watch
I
to
can
the
tell
end.
from the metrics. People watch to the end.
Yeah.
People love our content start through finish. That's true.
Oh, yeah.
But what happened last week
Totally.
was, for those who maybe just tuned into this video, is that we hit the special wheel slice, which does what, Mason?
Basically, we added a slice on this last season that said you can pick a movie for someone else. So after that slice was spun, we spun again to see whose it landed on, being mine.
Yes.
And then I spun it again, and
To
it
see
landed
who
on
he's picking for.
Price. Therefore, I picked a movie for Price.
So, we took a quick commercial break to sit there and pretty much tell you that Mason gets to pick a movie for Price, and today's movie is...
7 Days in Hell.
Hmm.
It's an HBO original.
Yeah.
And it is a very, 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 very loosely based true story on a match that happened back in 2011.
Is it actually based on a
Yeah.
true story?
It lasted 3 days,
3 days.
like
Okay.
in real life.
This took place in 2001.
Yes,
Yeah,
the movie took
But
place in
like,
2001,
it was
but-
just, I think it was like the idea came to be back in 2011.
Yeah, they're
because it
documenting this. Yeah, the actual...
Just the idea that something like this can even happen.
could happen
Right.
because tennis is one of those sports that could technically never end.
Yeah, it's
Like-
what a silly sport, for the record.
Yeah, that's a very odd one.
Yeah.
People have to do things.
Yeah, I have lives to live, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the OJ trial. Like, no one would expect it to last, months and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So, give us the insight on this movie. What's the blurb?
So basically, it is a mockumentary where you have two of these up-and-coming / professional tennis players are meeting together at the, I'm assuming the
Wimbledon.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not the U.S. Open.
Nope.
It's Wimbledon.
Wimble.
And they kind of have like a previous history, and it kind of highlights a little bit of their upbringing, and how Kit Harington,
Charles
Poole,
Charles Poole, and
Yeah.
Aaron Williams.
Aaron
yeah.
Williams.
The reverse blindside.
Yeah.
Because Serena Williams and Richard
Richard Williams.
Williams
Adopted
him at
him.
a very young age.
Yeah, and they said, we did the reverse. We a black family adopted a white kid and made them play tennis.
I just love that Serena was on there.
I know, the fact that it was actually Serena really does make it home.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically just comes to the fact that they have to play each other at Wimbledon, and the match lasts 7 days. That should just be a normal set, but just things keep happening
Yes.
that delay the game. Crazy things that we'll
Like
talk
a
about.
streaker.
Like a streaker. Just a streaker.
Whoa.
though.
Two
That's
streaks.
all.
Dos
Just a streaker.
speakers. in fact.
So the documentary is like split in half. The first half is the history of these two, like what Aaron Williams, who he is, who Aaron Williams is, and then who Charles Poole is. Then it gets to where the match actually starts, and then that's the other half. It's very firmly in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say it does a good balance of actually giving us both characters. This is a 2-character story, but in 40 minutes, it's telling quite a bit, all things considered, narrative purpose-wise.
Because it's like
I mean,
just cut based.
it's moving
Yeah.
at breakneck speed.
I mean, it's already
Like,
it starts to
it
ground.
is
Yeah.
it is respecting your time.
Yeah.
It is.
It is wasting no time.
No.
And it is, if you look away for a moment, you have missed 6 jokes.
Yeah.
And a whole storyline.
And
plot.
potentially-
Oh, there were
a-
jokes in this?
No. This is a straight-faced one.
That's true. It's
But
real.
if you look away and look back, you may actually catch a orgy, a comic
Yeah.
orgy,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
which we'll get there. Hold on, we're teasing. Let's go to the beginning. So
And they talk about the history.
yeah, I want to talk about the history
That
because
was part of the history.
That's
it is true. It's in
That
the
was in the
history part.
that was before
That was
the match.
Aaron.
That
yeah,
is true.
that's
Yeah.
before the match. So let's start with Aaron Williams.
It's
'cause
actually
that's
whenever the
something-
match was decided to happen.
happened. Yeah, is he... That's a little deflating.
Yes.
Anyways,
That's all he said.
we'll get to that. It's so high on my list. Anyways, Aaron Williams, pro tennis players, killing it, crushing it. He fucking
The
hits a
bad
guy in the
boy of
yeah,
tennis.
he's fuck tennis. He's very like mullet all the way through it. He hits a tennis ball and kills a guy in one of the games.
Yeah.
It keeps playing. One of my favorite lines in the whole thing is the announcer's like, he really should forfeit after killing someone.
somebody.
And they're like, well, he's not. And then Aaron Williams goes up. He's like, Aaron Williams to serve a second serve after killing
him.
guy.
Yeah. The delivery on the announcers are so solid throughout this whole one with it. And then you hear murder. What?
No, who said that?
Who said that?
And then at the end, when he eventually loses,
Mhm.
and then the Duke,
The Duke
comes
pushes him.
out, who's Howie Mandel for some
Yes.
reason.
Yeah.
And then they keep like he pushes the Duke, and like he
Yes.
pushes the Duke, and they replay it a bunch of times.
I knew right away when I saw that scene. I'm like, Price is peeing himself watching
Oh yeah,
this
because
scene.
they played it back 100 times
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
He's like the shove heard round the world or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, and the little extra dubs into it was very Tim and Eric-y to the point where I was like, oh my god, fucking Mason nailed it in the ballpark for Price picks on this.
Yeah, he did.
Well, I mean, the main actor in this is
Andy
definitely-
Samberg as well,
Yeah,
so-
that's like
A fan
heading in
favorite.
Price direction.
Pop star, Palm
Yeah,
Springs
Springs
himself,
himself, yeah.
along with what was that movie I made you watch? Hot Rod.
Hot Rod, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Aaron's trials and tribulations end up up in jail. We'll catch back up with him in a second.
Whoa.
Hold on.
We also have the lingerie line.
I
that
forgot
Aaron
about
Williams
the
has.
underwear. He takes a break from tennis after the murder
He goes to Sweden.
and makes some underwear with just balls out.
Just the balls out.
Yep, just a little hole.
Uh-huh.
And then the
Dangle.
model's out there modeling him, and he's just like flicking his
he's
balls.
just
No,
pinning it.
he's got
Yeah,
a
he's got a
little like,
pin.
pointer, and he's just like tapping.
Huh?
He said,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he's like smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Mason actually picked a movie for me until this point, and then I was like, son of a bitch,
That's
I'm
half
in.
dong.
Yeah.
But just wait.
No, I'd seen clips of this movie
And then he
before.
winds up having to go to jail, and
Yeah.
they're
Because
like,
of
if
a civil
Civil
lawsuit.
lawsuit.
they're like, if you
It's like
want,
he
if you
owed
go
a
to
bunch
jail,
of money to
$12 million to
Sweden. Or
Sweden.
something.
Was
It was
it
because of those sack.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was they had it had like
shaved
chafing or whatever.
and made their nuts the size of
Scar
grapefruit.
tissues. Yes, that's what it was.
And then they said
And they show a picture of the
another
grapefruit
one of the
nut,
lines
too.
I really liked was when they said like if you go to jail you want to go to Swedish
Swedish
jail,
jail.
like with
Yeah.
all these mid-century
Yeah.
furnishes on there, basically talking about IKEA, about
Yeah.
how it's like in their jail
Well, and he's
cell.
like holding a fake plant and like clipping it with
Clipping it,
scissors.
yeah.
too.
Yes.
And I knew that was gonna be the direction of it because as soon as it was like Swedish shell is gonna be like the fucking nicest.
Supposed to be
Yeah,
nice
it
one,
is.
Yeah, it is, and they're like,
I think to me the funniest thing that they said about the Swedish
I already
show is
know.
whenever he left and there was
He
like,
escaped.
well, by Swedish law, if you
If you
escape,
escape, you're free.
You're just free
Yeah.
man. That's what it is.
yeah. We'll get into Kit Harington's Poole character here in a second.
But then you have Dolph Lundgren. right?
You're not
Dolph.
want to do the orgy yet.
I want to go into the orgy
Let's do the
because
orgy.
it's pretty peak. Like,
Which to this point of this movie, there's no nudity. There's
Oh,
no
the balls.
anything. Well, there's balls.
There was balls.
That's
Which-
nothing. Little Dicky showed his balls and went to jail for it.
yeah, but as soon
Whatever,
as you
but-
see balls, you
Like
know
there's
that
not
there's
much. Like it's very obvious fake
But
balls.
it's also HBO, so you know it's coming.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
thought those were fake balls?
No, those are real balls.
Those looked fake.
Pull it up.
Look, whenever
Put it on the
he's-
screen right
Whenever
now.
he's tapping and they like recurl
Yeah,
a bit,
those
like,
are-
that's
you-
real balls.
Yeah,
dude.
those are
are
real
some
balls.
saggy balls. If that's the case, that's beside the point.
Maybe it's hot.
Back
I
to
thought
the
they were
gym.
average.
Well, here we are on today's episode of Ball Judgments.
Yeah.
You know what? We could probably start
Let's do it.
start a Patreon, and that one would make money.
Viewers go up, subscribers go up to in the hundreds.
The only thing going up, oof,
Yeah.
me.
So-
Anyway, so
going.
we go into
So we're in the jail now.
we're in the jail, and at one point during his opponent's run, there's an interview, which is less important overall, because that I won't lie, the Kit Harington character, Charles Poole.
It's just a whole
his
thing
history.
about it being just some weird thing with his mom. controlling
yeah,
him.
No, I want to talk about his portion.
It's-
I love
it's this
his portion.
it's like this
Jon
abusive
Snow.
electric complex. I found it incredibly boring.
Well, and
but
then there's the TV show host that is definitely like
Yeah, it's
my
molesting
favorite
him.
scene of the
Shocker.
whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, if we're talking about
All right,
Charles
fine,
Poole,
fine.
then-
Before we get to the orgy, go ahead.
so
and cue
he's
us up,
like,
Sean.
Charles Poole's seen as this like very dim character who's a child prodigy, which he at the age of 3, he's like, I don't even like tennis, and then it just keeps going.
forcing him to play tennis.
Forcing him to play tennis. Who his mom is the mom
Charles, honey.
from Step Brothers.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
mom.
I knew
so
she was
like,
the familiar.
of course I'm gonna love that.
Shocker.
And then the interview with the Good Sports show.
Simon Pegg, isn't it?
Easily my favorite part. Maybe
I think so.
I wasn't too sure, but he's very sweaty the whole time.
So
He's
sweaty.
very like into Charles Poole. You can tell, and he's like, "Well, I know you have to be fit for tennis. How about you show those abs?" And then Charles Poole's like, "Indubitably." He gets up and shows his abs, and then it cuts to an interview, and they're like, "Yeah, it was very obvious at this point that the interviewer was very into
Yeah.
Charles," and then it just shows the interviewer very greasy. He just goes,
like licking his lips.
Yeah.
and he just goes.
And he starts to put it down, and he's just like, "No, I don't think a camera on the back got the shot. You gotta."
He doesn't break eye contact with his abs while he's
Yeah,
saying
does
that.
not miss a beat.
No, that camera over there just didn't quite
Didn't
see
get it.
that.
Yeah.
And then his like button is just barely hanging
Shaking
on
on,
because
yeah.
he's got the blazer.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But and during that interview, he makes a comment being like, "Oh, you
No,
like."
different interview.
Oh, different interview. Yeah, sorry.
Because
Yeah,
he's talking to like
woman,
ESPN.
though. Yeah, the
at
ESPN
that
one.
point.
Yeah, but a later ESPN interview asked him, does he think that he's better than Aaron Williams? And Aaron Williams, in the midst of an animated Swedish jail orgy.
But Charles Poole, all he says is like, I guess.
Yeah.
No, he just said
No,
like, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Shrug his shoulders, like, yeah.
So the hijinks of this animated orgy, I think, is not to be underplayed. At one point, there's the train,
The Congo
the circle,
line,
the
or-
Congo
yeah,
lane,
no,
which
it's-
is just how
That,
that's
that
done.
train is going end to end.
End to
Yeah,
end.
it is.
Yeah, it is.
Human
It is
centipede.
Human
It is human
centipede
centipede style, with one guy spinning like a top on another guy. But my favorite all-time part, no question, is and then they left the TV on and they saw the quote, and Aaron's.
But Dolph Lundgren is narrating the
Yes,
orgy the
yeah,
whole time.
Dolph
let's
is.
let's not, because like,
And he's speaking in Swedish.
Yeah.
and,
Which
like
he's-
they're doing a voiceover.
which he's
for him.
obviously not talking about.
No.
Like he's saying something. He's talking about something else, but they dubbed over him like
He's from like the 90s.
talking
Yeah.
about the orgies. Like, yeah, we loved having orgies
Uh-huh.
in the jail. And then
Yeah.
when
Aaron was
when-
always a
Oh,
big
Aaron
fan
was
of the
a big
orgies.
fan.
then when Aaron saw it, he deflated immediately.
And then everybody
Everybody.
deflates immediately. And you know what? I'm so here for that. That's peak cinema.
Yeah,
for me.
and then he says something like, yeah, once Aaron heard that, he
He-
left the orgy early that day.
He left the orgy that day, and then actually just escaped from
He
prison.
just
which,
ran out of the
Which
According
his
to
escape
Swedish
is
rule.
hilarious because
Drop kicks
there's
the-
one guard
You won't
and then
love
he
that.
drop kicks the guard and that's when you finally see his dick
Yeah,
and it's just
it's at
flailing
least
huge.
2 feet
And then
long.
as he's
No, he
running-
like knocks a bird.
Yeah,
down.
when he's running.
the first time you see it is when he kicks the guard, then he's running away and then it's just
Even
flopping
bigger,
everywhere and a bird comes up and it just smacks
Smacks it out of the
bird.
way.
And it's like terrible CG. It's like
Oh,
yeah, It's so bad.
Yeah, it's not good CG.
Yeah.
No.
Terrible,
It's,
but on purpose.
it's one of those like dramatic reenactment kind of things that you would see on cable
Yes.
TV.
Speaking of reenactments, we didn't even talk
The court scene.
about the
Yeah, the
stupid
Disney
court.
court.
Which goes out of nowhere.
We just
that,
take a
that
quick commercial
very
break.
like just
It was a 2-minute segment where,
was-
while they were in the civil court going over the Swedish lawsuit, this court illustrator just changed the game, and he starts like illustrating like the pictures in the courtroom, and then that just it makes everyone
like it makes it highly animated and
Yeah.
stuff, and then they do this whole thing about how he changed
influences.
The field.
Like he changes the entire field, and now everybody's making all the courtroom drawings like super animated.
And the talking heads are even talking about
Yes.
this random courtroom sketch.
Yeah.
He's like, and when you get that famous, like all the drugs, the women can't
Nothing will
satisfy
please
you.
you.
The only thing that'll satisfy you is to go to space.
Yeah.
Oh
He
yeah,
floats a
'cause
rocket.
he also fucking tries to find another planet or something.
Yeah, he's like, I want
He
to find a better
blows
planet
up.
with better food and prettier women. And then you see it, and it just goes 9 o'clock, and
And then it just blows up, and Will Forte's on the talking head. And he's like, "Yeah, we lost a great person that day." Oh yeah, and Aaron Williams got sent to jail.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's a healthy distraction. And playing enough Lorcana, I've really appreciated the art style that this man influenced.
Yes.
So.
Oh, and it goes through like each country.
Yeah, all
And
the
it's like
variations. of it.
Nigeria was just like a couple dots on the screen, like it was random. Each
Yeah.
each country had its own style.
Just a little 2-minute vignette for no reason.
For no
Yeah,
reason.
for
None.
0. But you know what? You have a 38-minute movie, and you're like, 40 is really the definition of a short film, so they pushed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you think this was padding?
Yeah.
This is a little
This movie
fat
doesn't
that
have-
could be trimmed.
No.
I
like
Well,
it.
don't tip me.
Listen,
I liked
you
it.
wouldn't say that if you got chicken and had mashed potatoes and gravy next to it.
That's
that,
true, that you
That's
didn't
part.
order.
That's part of the meal. You know, this is
Yeah.
part of the meal. So,
Okay.
anyways, the shorter version is we get into the match finally.
Yeah.
They queue up and then they
Which
play.
takes no time after he escapes
0.
Swedish prison because you were in the match at that point. It's 0-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into explaining every little bit of it, but the match goes on for a while. It gets paused by rain. He gets rolled. He starts doing cocaine
Well,
on
I mean,
everything.
it starts with him doing really badly,
Charles
and
Rexon,
then
yeah.
it starts to rain. He calls for it to be canceled, and the next day he has cocaine everywhere.
Yeah.
He has cocaine in his racket. He has cocaine
In his
on a little
wristband,
cocaine
on his neck.
chain.
On his
But you don't. But
chain.
you
It's
don't.
also on
In
the
the
line.
On the line.
But you don't know that it's just suspected that he was doing cocaine during it. And it was like, is he on the lines of the court? He's like doing a line on the
Well,
out
I
of
mean,
It's
bounds.
written,
like
they
the
knew.
narrators are saying like, "Oh, he's definitely
We-
doing cocaine," but British people just don't point things out.
It would be rude.
It would be rude, so we didn't. Yeah. The cultural explanations I thought were actually really good on this one. He starts crushing it really well.
And his nose started bleeding.
His nose starts bleeding everywhere. The streakers come on, which is
You
another
know,
that's
he
another
wins
game.
the second match.
That's a little further.
I'm a little
and then
further in. This is
also,
before the car.
You know, through a lot of this, Harrington's being called
Yep.
by the Queen.
Yep,
and
the
he's
off-screen
being told
stuff.
that
Yeah.
He has to win for his country.
Or else.
Yeah.
And he starts getting real nervous.
By
and
day
remember,
6, she's beaten.
afterwards, he's like, I just need a minute. And he just walks away, and then like the interviewer just starts to follow
Follows
him.
him. Yeah, and he's
He's just standing in the closet. Yeah, in punishment mode.
Oh my god.
Kit Harington's a little funny in this movie.
He is perfect for that
I think
role.
for
He
what
did
they
so
gave
good.
him, he did very well.
You can see if this movie. I don't think this movie came out before Game of Thrones even started, but you can see
was
how
right
he
in
This
the
is
got.
middle.
Derek.
It was in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say it definitely came out had to be some
Mhm.
point, and I was like, but you could see how he got Jon Snow. You know what I mean? Like,
Because he could act.
if this movie came out beforehand, you would see where they're like, we want that, but dramatic and real.
Yes.
Like
Well,
Can he
that's
wield the sword?
Well, that's what they did with Breaking Bad. It's
Yeah.
Like comedic actors can
No,
do it.
go on to do
No,
other
no,
things.
no,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I mean, they're pretty much in the same tone, but not the point. Anyways, so
The match goes back and
the
forth.
match goes back and forth. He gets hit by a truck.
No, that's after the Streakers.
I-
You're jumping.
It's all blurred.
everywhere.
It's all blurred together. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's 7 days in hell. I know how it ends. That's the most important part here.
Kit
But
Harington starts to do better, and then the streakers happen, and then Aaron Williams just has the stamina of 1,000 men.
has sex for 3 hours with the first girl streaker,
Which,
who is
by the
an
way, this
absolute
is
baddie.
full
Yeah.
nudity. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it wasn't like
The guy was full
the
nude.
guy
and the
was
girls
fully
had
nude. The girl
Never
just
had
had
her
her top
top.
off.
had her top off, ass out, but no puss.
Oh
So.
my God, that's where
Which
we're drawing the line.
I mean,
Listen, if
that
I
was
see
you're
full,
seeing the
full
dick out.
nudity,
I just like
The
the
dick-
guy that was just
Yeah,
letting
the
it
guy-
all out.
the
But
guy-
but the girl was so funny in the first place because like Aaron Williams stops her while she's drinking.
Like she's an animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like whoa. Then they just start making out and
Yeah.
just start having sex, and they're like, and then Charles is like, can they do this? It's like the
Yeah,
rules
well,
don't say they
don't say that.
can't. And they go on for like 3 hours. It's like, and then he went down on her for like 3 hours while doing
High
high
fives
fives the whole
the
time.
entire time.
And it shows it in the moment where the whole court is quiet, and it's just
Yeah.
them going, woo!
Quiet on the court.
Yeah, quiet on the court.
Yeah, the outside narrations of the moments were always, I think, like the real comedy hits for me.
And then they finally get done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they continue the match, and then Mason's guy
And
comes
then the
out.
male streaker
Yeah.
comes out.
And then he's like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding
Kidding
me!"
me, yeah,
and then
yeah.
he comes around, and Aaron's like, And he's like,
Okay,
okay.
yeah.
and then that's another couple hours, and then the girl comes out. I
She
think.
Which,
comes back
which there's
for-
even a quick shot of Charles watching the two guys.
Yeah,
go
and
at
he's
it.
got a
And
motor.
he's just like watching.
Yeah.
He pitched a tent.
I know. That shot, I think, is actually really underrated.
It is
That
because
was-
if you're not looking for it, you
Yeah.
don't realize.
Oh,
it.
you would miss it.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, this man is rock hard.
And then they came so hard there was
Yeah,
a
there's a dent in the field.
court.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So how does this movie end, Mason?
Well, then both streakers come out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry. And then they proceed
Oh,
to have a
yeah, we
three-way.
gotta pad this.
Yeah.
So they have a threesome, and then Charles just falls asleep on the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
side.
He just takes a,
The day is
takes a
over. They
quick nap.
proceed to the next.
And then the
one.
next day was one of the favorite moments was when Aaron got hit by the truck.
Yep.
And then all the talking heads are like, we all knew who it was. Like, the only person who was certified.
With a
who would
CDL
use the
license.
truck.
And it keeps showing the picture of him with the graduate
diploma.
next to a semi truck.
A lorry.
And it has
Yeah.
like the horn
Yeah.
going over it.
And then Kit Harington's like, "Oh my God, Aaron got hit by a who? Wow! Oh my gosh! I wish him the best."
At the press conference,
Yeah.
it's literally him. We haven't even talked about Karen Gillan.
Yeah.
See,
Lily.
that's the part I think's a little bit fat. Like, I didn't think she was needed at all.
No,
I
it was a
thought-
little funny.
I thought it was funny just because like Lena Dunham was also in there as like another side talking
Yeah.
head.
Yeah,
With
the
the spiky
wig.
hair. Yeah.
Right.
It's like I designed Aaron's outfit. I think he looks fucking banging.
Uh huh.
He's like
I-
denim. Let's see more denim out there on the court.
Yeah, and they were like, I lost my job over that, but I would defend that.
I'd do it again.
I'd do it again.
Which then they had a pre-game interview kind of thing while they're in the match.
Uh-huh.
And that's when find out about the sex tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which apparently Charles is with the model
Lily
lady.
girl.
Yeah.
And they have a sex
Well,
tape.
Andrew's with them.
Where and then the model's like, yeah, if Charles would have seen it, he wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, he's like, and it's just him being like, sorry, sometimes my dick's being a dick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't get hard, honey. Can I
Yeah.
go down on you?
Yeah, he's like, how about I go down on you and high five?
And high five.
she's just like,
No.
yeah.
And then Charles in the interview is like, I'll kill you.
I'll kill
and
you.
then like starts fighting him and takes his wig off.
Yeah.
It's like he's been balding since he was 13.
Yeah.
Well, also he's like trying to kiss him.
Yeah, he's
too,
trying to, like, make out with
randomly.
him.
Yeah, because they're like into it, and he's like trying to kiss.
Yeah.
No,
No. No, honestly, the funniest thing is the Charles hitting with the truck thing didn't even register to me, like, until Andy in the interview was just like, yeah, I wonder who could have hit me with their truck.
He looks straight at him.
Yeah, he looks at him and I was like, oh yeah, duh. Like, I totally just missed that beat entirely. I don't know. My brain is still processing the three-way streaker orgy probably, but
I think one of my favorite things, like that was so damn stupid in the whole match, was like when David Copperfield just randomly showed up on Kit Harington's shoulders.
He's like, oh, it was an accident.
You know,
I was trying to
things happen.
I was trying to teleport elsewhere.
And
It
then they
could
kept
happen
saying
anywhere.
how he couldn't keep playing because he
Because
kept thinking of a magician.
And David Copperfield looks at the camera. He's like, "You know how things are." And he
Yeah.
like gives like a little subtle wink with a huge smile.
Yeah,
like,
he's like, back when cocaine was legal, and they're like, no, cocaine's never been legal. And he's like,
Yeah, he is very confused.
Is it? is that right? Yeah. I'm so glad you remember that part, because that part was genuinely
Well,
like...
David. So out of all of like the people that like sit in on these like little side
Yeah.
interviews, David Copperfield at the very beginning makes zero
No
sense.
sense.
So him having like a little bit of a payback or like a callback,
Yeah.
is fantastic because he's obviously Aaron's friend,
Yeah.
and
They're both drugs.
so he
the
had
old ex,
he had
so,
the truck. Kit Harington had the truck, whereas Aaron Williams had David Copperfield,
Exactly.
like randomly just dropped into the storyline.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, I think the match ends
on the seventh day.
where you have a stepbrothers inning.
Exactly the
And
same.
and you basically have like it's match point. Aaron just can't quite get over the top, And don't they both just charge the net?
Yeah,
No,
that's
they
right.
have-
They just,
yeah, they start
like
to be
a
beefing.
60,000 hit rally.
And then, that rally
That
also, we forgot to mention that, where they volley like a million times.
And
it's
they're rolling
it's the,
around
and
and
it's the
around.
terrible cuts where like they hit the ball, then like 5 seconds later they hit
Yes.
it. Then they finally get the up high shot, and they just throw that racket up.
That was a cool, yeah.
But they're about to have a fight, and everybody's like, no.
And they're
then
holding them back.
The queen stands up and says, let them fight.
Yes.
And they kill
Well,
each
she
other.
also had a beaten up Kit Harington. In
Yeah,
the
she-
elevator.
That's
Yeah.
true.
In the elevator,
I think we've
these
been-
cars like, Mom, like they beat me up, and they hit me in the
She's like,
chest, so the
well-
bruises would show.
Well, I'll never love you, and they're right. Yeah.
If you ever want my true love,
Yeah.
you'll win this stupid match.
this cup.
So they finally rushed each other at the net, stepbrother style, hit each other at the same time with the rackets, and it turns out they killed each other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then one of the interviewers on the side was like, I've seen too many dead bodies on tennis courts.
Yeah.
Because they
And they're
call back
all-
to the other thing again.
Yeah, and it's all pretty much just Andrew. And he's just killing people left
And then they put they're like they died together, so,
So
they're
they
going to
put
be
them
buried
buried
together.
together.
And they were
And they
in the
put the
same
bodies on
coffin.
top of each other. And then one of my favorite talking heads was that football guy who was like, yeah, like if it was football, people may have cared about this, but it was tennis.
It's
So.
tennis,
Yeah.
so nobody
Whatever.
cares.
He was one of he was like a good through line because he basically the whole time he is like commenting on it, but then also being like, but who cares because it's tennis.
Tennis.
Yeah. Keeping you real. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's so unbelievable this happened, but it's believable because it's a sport you're not paying attention to. And they're right. This could have, and it kind of did, and I had no idea. So,
And then the movie just ends.
well, and then
Oh,
you
the
have like
outro.
this outro of like, yeah, and it's does what every documentary ever does. That like these two actually did like each other.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah,
like you
yeah,
had
yeah.
this
Rivalry
like
was
friendship
intense.
Yeah,
woven
you're right.
in, like
but they both really valued each other. And
yeah,
it
that
was-
they didn't air previously. Like Aaron, before he like got up and stormed off, being like "fuck tennis and fuck you," blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He's like, I actually kind of like this Charles Poole guy.
Yeah.
He's I think we'd be really good friends.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I think the credit.
This should be the outro of my doc. If I die,
That's
this
what
should
it
be the
is.
outro of the documentary.
Yeah.
And it is. And
Oh yeah, because that is the final line.
yeah, it's the
of it.
final shot.
But I was
Right.
thinking one of the last things was some random person mentioning it's like, oh, I think the coffin was just like dropped in a river or something.
Oh.
I didn't catch
I
that.
I
must have
didn't, but I would
missed it.
believe it.
I would love that. If it,
Yeah, they just throw it and like unceremoniously into like a trash can or something.
Oh man.
But let's get into Fat Thin Perfectly Fit because we've pretty much described the movie scene for scene at this
We've
point.
kind
Oh
of
yeah,
Yeah.
We've seen the movie now.
And you've
Yeah.
seen our reactions to it, so you've got our impressions. Fat Thin Perfectly Fit. We'll start with Nathan.
hit us.
Uh-huh.
Man, I'm quite happy that this was such a short film. Because yeah, I mean, Andy Samberg,
Mm-hmm.
not my cup of tea.
Mhm.
What
Just
about his
not.
spiky hair?
With a
No.
strong mullet.
The wig.
No,
Yeah.
like I don't really vibe with this kind of humor.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's funny in a retrospective kind of way.
This
Yeah.
movie
When
wasn't
we
picked
meme
for
it.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
for
know.
me.
That's why you're last.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So luckily, it was short.
Uh-huh.
It's
so
funny.
fit.
Off camera, I think last week Nathan said something like, "I hate sports movies."
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
This was
he
1
did.
week
Yeah.
ago to the day he was
And
like,
he was
I can't vibe with them. Like they're not good.
And then Mason said,
And I picked Challengers originally, and then I was
What's
starting to
this?
think for Price. I was like, Price, I can think of the scenes that he's gonna hate. And then I was like, well, maybe Nathan will like this one because it's comedic.
You know the funniest thing though, you're queuing up with Challengers and you backed off of it. But if I
Yeah.
were to describe Challengers, a sex-riddled movie about tennis and people hugging three ways, and then you said I don't want to do that, and then you picked
This
a movie, a documentary movie
That
about
weirdly enough has the same,
Same
kind
plot.
of
Exact
Oh
same
yeah,
line.
it's basically the same.
same
thing.
plot. You just wanted it
I-
shorter and a little funnier.
I
is
think
why-
I've actually had this one in the chamber for a long time. And
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of like the stars align because
Uh.
I love
You
the
love that,
idea
yeah.
of this movie because it's so stupid and it's an HBO thing, so they're
Yeah.
not afraid to go there.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, Nathan, did you say that it was short?
Oh yeah,
Or
short
fat
but
or
fat or
thin?
thin.
I thought it was fit because he
I
wanted
mean,
it to be short.
Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever.
All right, it's fine or whatever. We'll call that fit. Here.
Yeah.
Mason.
I'm gonna say it's short. It's very thin. It needs to be a little chunkier, and I wouldn't mind if there was more story of their past. I wouldn't mind if there was more story of their match. I don't care. You pick I'll be in for it because throw a few more interviews in there with like just random other celebs. I would have been fine with that too.
They pulled a lot.
They
They
did.
did pull
They
a
pulled,
lot.
and like every one of them before you saw them all was like more random than the last.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
Serena Williams makes sense. That was the first one.
Yeah.
And then you started getting like Will Forte, and then you started getting like
Fred
Ha-
Armisen.
Yeah.
Who else did you say? Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel.
David Copperfield.
David
Yeah.
Copperfield was the dumbest damn thing, but it was just like, oh, all right, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
very thin.
Actually with Nathan on this one, for as much fun as I had with it, this is fit. Like this is a style of comedy that you can hit me with in like a quick burst, and you throw enough into stuff where it's like, it will overstay its welcome really quickly with me. And I think if I had to deal with more, there were parts where I was like clearly laughing, and I'll like laugh in hindsight, but in the movie I was like, this is fine. I remember thinking like almost all of Charles's backdrop, as I was kind of like saying earlier, really wasn't hitting for me. So
Yeah.
I won't say that it's fat because again, it's just a 40-minute movie. But I'm like, that's kind of the sweet spot. If this hits like 45 up, I'm like, even that extra 5 minutes, if it's like Charles's backstory, for instance, I'd be like, oh god, this guy.
Yeah.
You know, so-
This dense character.
Yeah. So I'd say overall, it's like right in the fit spot with it for like the style of and comedy that this is for me.
I think it's fit, but for and not a derogatory sense. I think it's very fit because it does what it wants to do, and it doesn't linger on jokes, which is something that I really appreciate
Oh, definitely.
when
not.
something does. Like it hits the joke, it moves
Quiet
on.
on the court.
Because I got really, because I got really close to being over the sack flops because I thought it was possibly going to linger a bit too much on that, and thankfully it didn't. It hits it leaves. That's what I like so much about it, and that's. Yeah, I'll say my other part later because we on this podcast I've definitely noticed that like if you throw shade at somebody's favorite movie and they know you like the movie you're talking about, it's gonna lower the score arbitrarily. So I'll say it when I go last.
Okay, I don't know what this has to do with Jurassic Park, but okay. Anyway,
it's a dong comparison.
Yeah. The dinosaurs didn't have enough dong. Let's get into
More
this.
natural dong.
Not enough dong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's if I had to say my one complaint on the movie. Anyways,
There's a lot of dong in this.
score. Let's take it from the top right back to Nathan.
Kind of from the bottom though.
I mean, it's the thing is, anytime you watch a comedy, I feel like it should make you laugh, like out loud at some point.
Yeah.
And these kind of comedies never do that for me. Like it's a funny thing. Like I mean, it is kind of funny, but it doesn't actually like elicit a laugh from me. Like I get it, I can appreciate it. It does some things that are pretty fun-y, but I'm just not laughing. So like it's kind of low mid for me. Like I'd probably just give it like a 4.5.
That's fair.
Will you get the button, Nathan?
Oh, we need the button.
Did you ever at least go?
No.
Like, did you get a snort?
That's the thing.
that's
or the
fair.
exertion?
It didn't make me laugh a single time.
I mean, I think like comedies and musicals are the same. Where if you didn't enjoy the music, you're not gonna like it. If you didn't like the jokes, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. There's
Something like that.
there's more than that, but there's the oversimplicity of it is like, yeah, if you miss those 2 points, it's a hard time for
I
you.
really need to figure out where my humor is because
It's bus. It's just
Oh
a
my
bus.
God, it's just
Yeah,
bus.
all.
It's Donald Duck bussin'. Like it's that, and it's not this.
Yeah.
So what does
where's
that say?
Where's
That
the,
is a good point. Like how
where's the brick wall?
I have no idea.
On-
Because what about when Aaron and the Streaker like simultaneously climaxed and then like left a dent in the court?
and they
Yeah.
moan at the
They
same
moan.
time.
Yeah. See, something about the male orgasm only works when it's
I don't
Anime?
know.
maybe it's the animation.
I think maybe I
Fritz
just
the
like
Cat?
Yeah.
maybe I vibe more with like Gen Z humor.
Maybe.
Oh,
That's
no.
scary.
Oh, that's
so
not
bad.
good.
Yeah.
He does have a little slight
Yeah.
bit of the TikTok brain.
He
He's
does.
like I want to be able to play something and do this
Yeah.
at the same time. I'm not saying that
I mean, I don't-
derogatorily.
I've
You're
never
not
even
denied
looked
that.
at TikTok.
Yeah, it's true. You never know.
He's a hybrid.
Yeah.
He's a hybrid Gen Z humorish.
He's Millennial Z. Anyway, Mason.
Yeah, I'll go. I think this movie is good. I do wish it was much longer and like sure I get
Andy
it.
was as long as it got, buddy.
Yeah, he was pretty long.
Uh-huh.
I think
Kill a
that
bird.
as much as I can give it though
Bird.
is like an 8.5.
I like that you say it's as much as you can
Well,
get. It's an 8
I
minutes.
genuinely enjoyed this movie. I think
Yeah.
it's fantastic, but the problem is you have to be paying full attention for 42 minutes when you sit down for a movie. This isn't a movie to me. This is just a
What did Nathan do with the other 2.5 hours?
That's
of
what I'm
his time?
saying. That's what I'm saying.
He beat 2 video games of the
Yeah.
amount of time he
Making
presented.
some art assets.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, been me. Even Craig.
But yeah, 8.5 for me. But I will say, I don't know if you guys remember Wreck. Wreck was only like 72 minutes long.
Yeah.
Was
So
that
I
the
am-
Quick
metal
hour.
band?
No,
No, Wreck.
no,
it's the
that's
video
the
recording
The
quarantine
hotel.
movie.
Yeah.
like
yeah.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Spanish
Quarantine.
quarantine.
Yeah. Okay.
Quarantine
So I
original.
think I'm holding the record for shortest movies on here.
I was
Short
about to
can't
say
go
this
over
is
here.
the shortest
This
film
isn't a
on,
movie.
on document, right? Like,
I mean, yeah.
I think it's our shortest movie.
I think Wreck is definitely
I wouldn't call this a
shortest.
This is a movie. I mean, it's a short film, so it's a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8.5 is so big. You're crazy.
It is tall, isn't it?
It is. But this movie's an 8. Quality-wise, it's probably honestly like a 7. But honestly, I appreciate so much.
In hindsight, right? Like
And-
you think
and-
back to it.
And I'm gonna look back on the score and be like, what was I thinking?
Oh,
Giving it an
man.
8. I promise you, that's what I'm gonna get. And then like I'm gonna go rewatch it and be like, oh yeah, the streaker sex scene's pretty peak. They show balls right away. The whole animated orgy part.
The courtroom,
I'm
man.
probably the courtroom.
Random
The 2-minute
courtroom
courtroom
shit.
ones on that. It is the little funny stuff like that.
It's so weird.
That's what I was like. If you looked away for a second and then you came back and they're talking about this guy going to other planets and rocket ship.
Yeah.
like, what just happened?
Yeah.
But I will say this, like, here's where I think it's actually going to deserve its 8, which is, like, so high for me already. But, like, I got an 8 quality amount of laugh per time. Like, that, if I gave it, like, time to ratio for, like, enjoyment
Yeah.
of laughs and, like, the quality of laugh I got, like, quite on set. Well, like, that one gets me the David Copperfield teleporting onto
And it's a still shot.
Yes,
And it's
it's
a still
like-
shot. It's so badly edited, but seeing Kit Harington later, like, so shell-shocked
Looking
and
at
waiting,
flies.
honestly, so fucking good.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so the laughs, I'm still genuinely laughing about this in a way. Yeah, murder! What?
Who said that?
Who said that? The Duke being pushed over, I was laughing because I knew Price was laughing. Yeah, I was like, this is so dumb, but I know Price is fucking in stitches over this.
And he had that game won too. They said
Yeah.
like he
Oh,
was
yeah.
like running away with it.
Right.
Like, all he had to do was get like
One
one
more
because,
point.
because he got the triple ace.
Yeah,
And he knew there was a 4-bagger.
Yeah, the 4-bagger was coming up, but nobody expected.
Because
yeah.
he killed the guy by setting a world record for a
For
serve.
speed.
Yeah, but he was like, but he did set a world record.
Yeah. If there's one
Yeah.
thing we could take away from that day is there was
Yeah.
a new record made.
Yeah, alright. This movie is a fucking 8.
We're
Fine.
talking you up into it. That's
It's
fine.
so dumb as an 8, but I'm gonna give it to it. Anyways, also, Lissa Carter, or whatever her name is, I looked the actress up later, caked out. Appreciate
one?
her. The streaker, female streaker.
Oh, I thought you meant
Yeah.
Lily. That,
Yeah.
She's the Carrie
I mean,
Gilligan.
she earned a credit.
She did, listen, hell yeah, she did. Yeah.
And you know something I appreciate is like they even like show like because I watched this twice to go into my score.
Oh my god.
Like it showed like you know how like silicone and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that, because like you naturally have. I was like I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, they didn't do any editing. They let the
Mm-mm.
body's been. The guy's body is very natural too.
Mhm.
Like
Oh yeah.
healthy penis size, hairy butt across the board. It was
Yeah.
like conventionally like not Hollywood appropriate, you know, for how they would normally do it,
that
but
scene was so long, but I thought it was pretty good.
wildly necessary.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me, I would have been like, did I direct this in the future? And you go back in time to watch this blind? What an amazing shot I did. Anyways, Price.
So to finish my thought earlier from
Yeah.
fat, thin, whatever, when I was talking about jokes staying like hitting quick and moving on and knowing when to move on, that's why like I couldn't get as much into something like Super Troopers and even a little bit Kung Pao is because they have a joke and then it keeps going. Like you like that joke? Yeah, we're gonna keep doing that one over and over. And that's not my kind of
Beating
humor
the buzz.
in movies.
Yes.
Like that's just not my kind of humor. Whereas
Yeah.
this is because, like you all said, it is very Tim and Eric-esque, where
Yeah.
it's got a ton of ideas and it's just churning them out all the time, getting new jokes out there, not dwelling on them. And again, I watched this 2 days ago, and then I watched it again today.
Shocker.
And I was like, man, did I like that as much as I did? And like, yeah, I was. I was watching it. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Because I was watching it with Kelly was like reading next to me,
Mhm.
and she wasn't paying attention until the nudity came on. She's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But I was laughing.
Swedish prison?
I was
Uh-huh.
laughing out loud the whole time, like a crazy person. She's like, "You really like this?" I was like, "Yeah, I definitely do." But
Yeah.
go ahead.
A quick thought I realized why I appreciate this humor and I usually lose out on Tim and Eric is because Tim and Eric goes gross.
Oh
That
yeah,
is
They
true.
throw
Yeah.
poop and farts and all that into their
That is a
stuff.
good one.
And-
use toilet paper.
And then
Yeah.
that editing thing, like, oh, hi there, hi
Hi. Yeah. Yeah, it's that.
true.
It's that ADHD style editing.
I'm not throwing shade.
No, I'm not. I mean, but it is what it is. Like, you know, it's that ADHD. This is towards Tim and Eric more than this film, but like, it's that ADHD style of editing plus the grossness that usually takes me out of their humor. Every now and again, they'll do something that I'm like, fun. I mean, again, Taquito dying. I'm like, that's just one of my favorite things in general, is people dying and being on that. So this is the weird, like, here's the brick wall. I realize, you know, I don't know where Nathan's brick wall is.
Yeah,
Donald
we
Duck
figured yours
busted.
out, though.
Mine is grossness. I'm like, once you add like the poop and stuff into it, I'm like, I'm so out. Like, I'm
Shrimp.
like, ew.
Shrimp me in?
Yeah.
Gross, bro. Get out
Yeah.
of here.
Yeah, I mean that's 100% why I hate Tim and Eric.
Yeah, like
Tim and Eric.
I found our wall. This is where we share our house.
Tim and Eric is a 10. But
Get the fuck
this
out.
movie, I don't know. I can't bump it up to a 10 because it's not going to be.
Maybe get the button.
Oh,
going.
get the button and everything.
Oh, because I want it whenever the button is brought out to not signify that there's going to be a 10. Like
That's
I want
true. It needs to be on the table.
to be a bit of a surprise. Yeah, because it
Yeah.
wasn't even on the table beforehand.
Uh-huh.
Because unfortunately, I think this is one of those movies that will slip my mind at some point. Like, man, I'm thinking like my favorite movies. What would I want to watch right now? This isn't going to be one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because I had a great time with it, but it's just not something that like clicked in me.
It's
even
not
though I
gonna
had
have
it,
the replay.
yeah,
Yeah.
because even though I had an amazing time with it and every joke hit for me and like everything it did was great, but it's just not going to stick in my mind as much because I don't see it as a movie, but I don't see it as like a TV episode. Like there are TV episodes way longer than this. The episode of House of the Dragon that we're going to watch on Sunday is going to be longer than this.
It's going to be almost twice as long.
You
as
say
this
we,
one.
but I've not gotten an invite to this.
Oh,
Show up wherever you want. Someone's going to be
oh, we're not
watching.
watching it. I was just saying. But anyway,
Oh, yeah.
really like this movie. Mason did great. If this was picked in the theme of everybody picking a movie for me, them two failed off a cliff already anyway. But
We tried.
this
You
would have been the
guys
top.
lost his trust.
This is definitely a 9 for me. Could be bumped higher in the future, but I really, really enjoyed
I
this.
think you should just make it a 10 because it hang dongs, to be totally honest.
You were,
And
if you
here's
were
the thing, it
Dylan-
hung dong in a way that would make you laugh.
Yeah, the orgy scene was
The
still a
orgy
bit like it was wanting to be.
Because you find sexuality
Something-
pretty jarring in an unhealthy way. Like, you don't like that typically.
No, like the streaker part I thought was
Well, the
amazing.
streaker
It's
part
just
was
they
good.
went from a talking head to 80 men
Yeah.
having
In a-
sex.
in
It
a-
was
It's
Anyway,
random.
yeah. It
And
was
was
just
like
a lot.
whimsical too. Like
Yeah.
it was like it had such a weird, different, upbeat tone,
Yeah.
and it was
It
a
was-
total tone change.
Dun, dun.
Yeah,
With Dolph Lundgren over
like you said, there was literally somebody like spinning like a top.
Yeah.
It was so random.
Yeah.
But-
It writes itself, but the TV being left on in the showers is really
And you
good.
saw
So-
Aaron. You knew exactly who Aaron was because of his hairstyle from
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
His ass was out and everything, but you knew it was Aaron.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right, Dylan, what's our next movie?
Wheel time. I don't know. Mason's just gonna spin
If
the
it's
pick
another
another one.
category,
If it's-
I'm gonna scream.
if it's pick again, then
If
it's
it's-
gotta land on me again.
Oh my
I
god.
mean,
it
I'm on,
probably
a
will.
time, I'm on a timeline here. If we keep doing categories.
Which comes first, the movie spin or Price's Child?
Both.
Where, I didn't
Oh,
see.
we got a movie. All the way down. All the way down. All the way down.
There you go.
Actually good Oscar bait. Sorry, Nathan.
Oh, this
Cool.
one's mine.
Yep.
Yeah, Nathan didn't have fun with this one, and no one's gonna have fun with this movie.
Jesus.
I watched it a long time ago. I can't. I
Is
remember.
this Killers of the Flower Moon?
No.
This
Okay,
is the
good.
father.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, because I
Uh-huh.
talked about it before.
You've mentioned it
That's
before
right.
because I have a memory of an elephant when it comes to what people say. This is the fucking
I
father.
don't know that one.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this isn't gonna hit good for
Any of us. It has what's his
Anthony
face?
Hopkins
Anthony Hopkins.
and Olivia Colman.
Yeah, Olivia Colman's a banger on everything she's in.
She's always awesome. Which they released a trailer for Paddington 3. She's in that.
Oh great! All right, that'll be fun.
Oh man, it's gonna be.
You couldn't have
great.
picked Paddington 3?
It's not
not out yet, I know,
Olivia
but-
Colman and Antonio Banderas are going to be in it.
Oh.
Dylan, you got a 12 and
Oh,
14
I
chance.
could see why this is not really going to be something I'm happy to watch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I haven't watched
Yeah.
it. I've just only seen the trailer, so for what it's worth, I don't know why I don't like
I'm
it
not
yet.
sure either.
How long is it though?
It
It's like
definitely is strongly about dementia.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
what it's
bathroom
about.
scene.
This is gonna be.
I honestly can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really can't remember, but it's
Well,
a
that's
heavy
fitting.
one. This is very tonally.
Yeah, we're not funny in this movie.
So there won't be any Swedish orgies in this movie?
Maybe in his past, but he won't remember it.
Copperfield's going to show up
Yeah.
on top of somebody.
Do we just want to score 7.5 across the board and then just move on to my
Just
movie?
watch it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're the last
Because we
man
got
standing.
one more movie and it's music Oscar bait and nobody's gonna guess what that is. Don't guess. Anyways,
Well,
on the
Happy
no.
Feet.
See, but there's a lot of options. My point.
That's true.
Ah.
Happy Feet, I hope it is.
I hope it's Happy Feet after this one.
More whimsical.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, that's our show. Hold on, I'm making sure if everything's in order there. Yeah, sorry, this one went so fast. We have,
Did it?
last we checked, 70 subscribers. You fuckers.
Yeah.
Who?
You know who you are.
Who did it?
You know, one of us could unsubscribe.
I could. I don't even know if I am subscribed. That's the funniest thing.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I actually don't
We've been doing
know.
this like 6 years.
Hold on, let me look.
He's been holding as a reserve.
Nathan, or Mason outro was
Yeah.
Yeah,
outros.
so like, comment, and subscribe because at this point, we'll just, we can wean ourselves down back to 69. So if you want to go ahead and subscribe, we'll figure it out from there. But,
Check
yeah,
back in next week for our rambunctious review of The Father.
The Father.
Rambunctious, is that
It's
the term
gonna
we're
be-
using?
So lighthearted.
So lighthearted.
Farewell.
Bye, guys.
Get out of here.
Oh,
Bye.
I'm subscribed.
Oh, you are. That's good.
I'm gonna unsubscribe.
Are you really?
I refuse to.
Oh my god.
How dare they?